Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be doing a review and install of these MicTuning RGB halo headlights for my Jeep TJ here. If you're new here, welcome to the channel and don't forget to subscribe. Please remember that it is not legal everywhere to change the color of your headlights. But if you are interested in these headlights, go ahead and check out the link down in the description below. So these headlights from MicTuning are 7-inch round LED headlights which should fit a Jeep TJ as well as a Jeep JK and JKU and any other vehicle that takes the 7-inch round headlights. These headlights do have Bluetooth so that you can change them however you want, as well as they have 4 different light modes. But the 4 different light modes are really just the LED color changing. They have a built-in turn signal, which I will show you guys in just a minute, as well as a high and low beam. These are incredibly bright, so if you get them, you should have no problem seeing out on the highway or off-road, depending on what you are doing. Let's go ahead and see what's in the box, and then we'll hop on an install, and then after it's all installed, I'll show you all the great features of these lights. Now, full disclosure, MicTuning did send me these in exchange for my full, complete, and honest review, and as always, I intend to give you guys just that. So I actually have not pulled these out of the box as of this moment, so let's go ahead and open up the box, and you guys will see my very first impressions of these lights. So far, I do feel like they did put a lot of effort into their packaging to make it look decent, but at the same time, they didn't waste a bunch of your money on extremely specialty packaging. They just made some boxes that kind of look nice, and I love that. There's a lot of companies out there that are really big on their packaging, and I feel like if they invested just a little bit less money into their packaging and a little bit more money into their product, they could put out a lot better product. And I do like that this box is just simple. It's got a picture of their product on the front, and on the inside, it's just kind of stuffed in here just enough that they aren't going to go anywhere, but also at the same time, they are protected enough that you don't have to worry about them getting damaged in shipping. So first up inside the box, we do have our little information packet right here on the front. Now in here, it does give some nice, clear, short instructions, as well as it breaks down a diagram for the control box wiring, which I think is great. In the past, I got some RGB lights that it was just all stuffed in the box, and there was no explanation as to what was what, and there was a lot of trial and error until I figured it out. So honestly, the fact that they took the time to give you guys instructions and a wiring diagram is absolutely amazing, because you would be surprised at how many companies don't actually take the time to do that. Next up, we have our headlights. Wow! There is no plastic on the back of this. This is all nice and solid. I am thoroughly impressed. Wow. So looking at these, they have a really nice solid construction, and the lens is extremely clear. And once again, the best part is removing this plastic, but I'm going to wait to do that until I actually get them on the Jeep. I always like to rip it off right away. It's so satisfying. But the last time I did that, I ended up having to set the light down a lot on its face. And I'm going to go ahead and keep the plastic on there just in case I have to plop it down like that. I don't want to scratch my lenses. So far, first impressions are incredible. It does have this little vent on the back. The wire looks like a nice solid construction. It looks nice and watertight. Everything seems to line up really nice. And they do have the DOT stamp saying that these are DOT approved right on the top of the headlight, which I really like. It does say on their website as well as on Amazon that these are DOT approved, and I really appreciate that they took the time to stamp it on their headlights. I just can't get over how well built this thing is. Now, I've reviewed a few different sets of headlights for my TJ on this channel, If you're interested in any of those other ones, you can go ahead and search out those videos. But honestly, so far, I am already way more impressed with the build of these headlights than any other headlights that I have put in my TJ so far. Now, also in the box here, we do have some adapters depending on the plug in your vehicle, because these do fit any vehicle that takes the 7-inch round headlights. Now, in here we have our RGB controller, and they've also taken the time to mark what one goes to the left, which one goes to the right, and then as well for an input wire, which one goes to the left and which one goes to the right. They are making it extremely easy. And then for the power in, it does have a fused connection here. Is there a fuse in there? There is. There's a 10 amp fuse in there as well. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I was not expecting it to surprise me this much. I am thoroughly impressed with these lights so far. Anyway, and then with that, we do have our extension plugs. These here are some really nice plugs, the way that they work. They have a little O-ring on there. That way when you connect them into the lights, you tighten it down and it makes a nice watertight seal, which is marvelous. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop on over and I'll throw them on the Jeep and we'll see how it looks. Yeah. First, I have to text my grandma back. So, the very first step to install these new headlights is to remove the old ones. And in order to do so, there are going to be 3 screws, one right down here, one right there, and one right there. And we're going to remove this chrome ring right here. Don't worry if yours isn't chrome, because not all Jeeps are created equal, but they are all equally as awesome. And with those 3 screws removed, you should just be able to pull this ring. If it's been a while since it's been off, it might be a little difficult to pull, but I assure you, those 3 screws just take it right off. So next up, you're actually going to have another metal ring that holds the headlight in place. And to remove that ring, you're going to have 4 screws, one here, and 2 down here. Now, as soon as you remove all of those, there will be nothing holding your headlight in. So make sure as you're removing the last one, you have your second hand up here to hold the original headlight, especially if it is the original glass one, because you don't want it falling down, breaking, and then leaving glass everywhere. And like I said, once this ring is removed, you want to make sure you have another hand holding the light, because there is nothing currently holding it on. At this point, you can just go ahead and pull out your headlight, unless you have way too many zip ties behind it like I do. So I'm definitely going to have to pop my hood, cut some zip ties back there, and I will get right back right here with you guys. So as you can see here, I got all of my wiring freed up. Currently, this is my setup. This here is the plug for the high and low beam. This here is my daytime running light. And this here is my driver's side flasher. So I wired all of this up when I installed some headlights a while back in another video. So if you want more in-depth on how I wired up a turn signal into my headlight, as well as my daytime running lights, go ahead and check out the video up in that corner right over there. Now, that wiring will come into play, but I'm going to modify it ever so slightly to suit the needs for these current lights. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my daytime running lights, as well as my left blinker here and the plug right here, and set this old headlight aside. So now, in an effort to keep all of my wiring nice and simple, I'm actually going to go ahead and mount this controller right behind my driver's side headlight here. The reason for that is I already have my daytime running light wire running to this headlight first, and then it splits and it runs all the way over to that headlight. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this behind the driver's side headlight, and then plug this directly into this headlight and run the extension wire all the way over to the other side. Now, in order to get my left and right signals working, that wire that I already have running from over here to over there for the daytime running lights, I'm just going to splice into that and use that wire to go from over there to over here for my flasher. So right here, what we're doing is I'm tapping into my already existing daytime running light wire, and that is going to go to my red wire on the controller. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice into my left flasher, and that is going to go to the blue wire, or the one that already says left on it. And then I'm going to tap into my right flasher on the passenger side and go ahead and tap into that with the green wire, with a wire that runs all the way over to that other flasher. And then the black wire on the controller, you want to make sure you connect to your ground source. Doesn't matter where it's at. Me personally, I'm just going to tie into whatever ground I can find back here behind this headlight. On this controller, in our case, we are not going to be using this white wire. This white wire is actually for brake lights, because this controller is used for more than one application. They definitely have a lot of other products over at MicTuning, and it just makes sense that they would make one controller that's universal instead of making a different controller for every set of lights that they have. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and cut this guy off, kind of let him hang out there. I might put some tape around it just to keep it protected, but it doesn't really matter because this doesn't connect to anything. And then once all of that is done, I'm going to go ahead and run the extension for my right-hand side blinker up and over along, following where I previously ran my daytime running lights. Once again, if you want more in-depth on wiring up daytime running lights and flashers, I'll go ahead and leave a link to that video at the end of this video as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of my wiring ran, and then we will go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this hooked up, and I'll see you just as soon as I'm done with that. Okay, so I have the majority of my wiring done, and now it's time to go ahead and install the headlight. So I'm going to take my headlight here, and I'm going to go ahead and take my wiring and plug it into my 3-prong plug right here. And then this wire here, I'm going to go ahead and plug into the corresponding wire right in here. But I did kind of tie everything up just a little too tight back there, so I need to go ahead and install my light, and then I can go ahead and plug that in after the fact. So in order to complete the installation of this headlight, we just need to reinstall everything the way that we took it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and get this slapped in here. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it matters which way is up or which way is down, but in an effort to keep everything kind of symmetrical and hopefully the right orientation, I'm going to install it to where the wire coming out of the headlight is all the way at the bottom, and the DOT stamp is at the top where you can read it, because it is not upside down, it is right side up and readable. So I'm going to put this at the top and the wire that comes out of the headlight on the bottom. So there is a ton of different lighting modes in the app. The app is really simple. All you have to do is search for MicTuning, M-I-C tuning, and it's the very first app that pops up. So far, the app is very user-friendly. It also has a way that you can preset your own preferenced light modes. So you can create your own light modes depending on what you want, and it will let you store up to 6 of them, so you can have different presets for your different moods or for different occasions. It also has a little over 70 different pre-programmed light modes. Right now, this is just colorful watering forward, and I feel like it is a really nice and kind of like a soothing light mode. Now, on top of all this, it also will sync to your music. All you got to do is give it the permission to sync with your iTunes library or whatever the Android equivalent is, and you can actually sync your headlights to your music. And then, like I said, If you live in a state where it is illegal to change your headlights, which is pretty much everywhere in the United States, you can just set this to white for your daytime running lights and you don't have to worry about it. And then you can have your different light modes for when you want to show off. Now, another great feature about these headlights is they do have high and low beams. I'm not going to show you how bright that is because it would not be very helpful for me to just flash the high beams and the low beams at you. So you're just going to have to take my word for it that it is extremely bright. One of the best features about these headlights is the turn signal in the headlight. So when you turn on your signal, it shuts the RGB halo off and it immediately just changes it into an amber signal light, which I think is wonderful. And then once you go ahead and you turn your signal off, there is a slight delay and then it goes right back to whatever you already had it programmed at. Alright, so now it is time for my complete and honest opinion on these lights. And I don't know if it's completely obvious by now or not, but I really love these things. They are extremely bright for a low beam and a high beam. I think that they will work out great going down the road at night. And the RGB Halo Angel Eye is just really, really, really cool. I'm not going to lie. So these headlights definitely got a thumbs up from me. These things are awesome. Once again, make sure you check out the links down in the description below to these really cool RGB headlights. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. As always, don't forget to subscribe down there. You can check me out on Instagram at It's Project Venture, as well as the Tickety Talk at It's Project Venture. Thanks for watching. These are the J1 RGB plus IC 7-inch anti-glare LED headlights, anti-glare multicolored LED headlights for the Jeep Wrangler TJ and JK. That took like 5 takes and I still didn't get it right. Either way, check these things out.